So, specialist cameras are a hot topic right now as broadcasters, leagues and federations look to get viewers ever closer to players, clubs and matches with their coverage. However, many implementations require not just technical ingenuity and revised workflows, but because football is a sport that's both passionate about its heritage and also very conservative when it comes to rules and changes and things like that. Also the ability for production teams to jump through hoops, many hoops, meaning some ideas do fail. With me here on stage is Emil Drexler, Sky Austria's Head of Sports Operations, and Paul Munday, ACS Specialist Camera Design Engineer. Thanks for coming. And we were supposed to have, John from Batcam, but unfortunately his train has been cancelled and he couldn't make it, but we've got enough to talk about, we're okay. Before we go into detail on some of the deployments that you have both done, let's first sense check why there's been a recent desire to add more specialist cameras to football coverage. Emil, why is Sky adding more things?
Hello everyone. I think our goal as broadcaster, like many other broadcasters, is to continuously develop and enhance the storytelling of a football game. And these specialist cameras, they can be very helpful when it comes to providing new angles, new aspects, both in terms of visuals and content. So for us, as Sky Austria or as broadcaster, it's about presenting new insights, new perspectives. It's about creating a more immersive experience, more dynamic experience. And it's also about providing the football fans a, let's say, better and deeper understanding of the game. So that's the idea and that's the reason why we do it in a nutshell.
Fab. And John, Paul, how about you? Have you seen similar requests from some of your clients?
Yeah, so I think it's interesting that specialist cameras now are kind of seeing some requests where being asked for line cameras to be replaced with specialist cameras, and it's probably driven by the specifications that are available by these, so you get enhanced capabilities within these. So an example could be like high frame rate trigger mode on certain cameras. It's a bit more efficient to get slow motion back in these kind of cameras. So I think, as Emil was saying, you can get, as well as all the immersive angles and all the new stuff, you can actually just improve what's already there.
Yeah. Do you ever push stuff to your clients and say, why not try this?
Definitely, yeah. I think we have a really good relationship with Sky TNT, BBC, ITV, and we'll continuously, evolve ideas with them and just push stuff out. And it's not worth developing anything if they say it's no good,
Yeah, definitely. So let's look at a couple of examples, one from each of you. Emil, starting with you. We've got a clip of RefCam for us here. Do you want to, first of all, tell us about what we're going to be seeing on this one?
Absolutely.
And we can cue the video as well, please.
Yes. So as we watch the video, I can say a few words about that RefCam use case.
Sure.
Last winter, in November, we got the permission from the IFAB to use the RefCam, including audio, for the very first time at an Austrian Bundesliga game. We got the allowance to use it live, pre-match, post-match, and during the halftime. So we could capture some cool shots of the referee's pre-match speech in the players' tunnel, of the players run in onto the pitch, of the coin toss, the kickoff, and some really nice sequences post-game and during the halftime. Mm-hmm. Further, we got the permission to show in-match clips real live immediately after each halftime. And these are, of course, the images that you want to see. When you have these face-to-face situations between the referee and the players, when you have the referee arguing with the linesman and the video assistant referee, then it gets really emotional, then you're in the middle of the action, and that was great footage, and we've been very happy with that output. And especially for these sequences, it was important for us to create a setup where everyone feels comfortable with. So neither the players nor the referee should be afraid to lose their reputation in a way. So therefore we decided to use another gallery on board with an editorial team, an EBS operator, and another league official, another referee, to so that this referee could pre-authorize all these clips before they went on air.
Okay.
And that worked out pretty well. And I think it's also important to mention that it was totally fine for us that these clips are pre-authorized, pre-approved, because for us it was really never about exposing the referee or the players or to put anyone under pressure. So for us, our approach was to present this very special perspective, which has never been seen before, to present this insight, which has remained inaccessible until now. And in that context, it's also important to understand that the referee's perspective is not just another camera angle. Every movement, every interaction, it just looks completely different and is not comparable with any other camera at a football stadium. It's way more dynamic, first-hand, in the middle of the action. And that was our, let's say, visual approach. And besides that, we also wanted to provide an additional aspect. We wanted to show the football fans how difficult it is, how hard it is to be on the pitch, especially for the referee. How stressful it is and nerve-wracking to make critical decisions within split seconds, and also how emotional it can get in the end. So, in the end, I think these aspects provided by the RefCam can really enhance the storytelling of a football game.
Absolutely. And how did your director fit that content into the standard broadcast?
I mean, it was not a big thing because he was very thankful for that content. Yeah, it was great to have that, and it's really a big add-on, and it provides an additional value for the viewers.
Okay, and what about the permissions for it? So, I mean, it's great, amazing that you've got it. I mean, I love the but I mean, how did you get the permission in the first place? Because that is with the audio as well. That's huge.
That was for sure the biggest challenge. But I think it was very helpful to involve all parties at an early stage, to have a clear idea about what you want to achieve, how you want to achieve it. Also, to create a setup where everyone feels comfortable with, especially when it comes to sensitive, personal or emotional insights. It's important that everyone is that all parties are fine with that. And in the end, it was let's say the league, the clubs, and also the referees. They were all convinced about that, and especially the Austrian Referee Federation. They were very supportive and helpful to get that permission in the end.
Fantastic, yeah. It does make for amazing television as well. Always wondered what they were saying. And now to you, Paul. So we're going to be talking about tech area cams. Do you want to tell me a little bit about exactly what they are as we watch this next clip?
Yeah, sure, yeah. So it all derived from our technology we created for something Smart Grip, which is a robotic jib that we created about, I think it was 2016 was the first season, and it was made for Sky Sports. And it consists of a robotic arm, and it had kind of never been done before, so there's quite a lot of challenges to go with that. But we created it because we saw a trend in Europe with in-goal cameras, and it's a really immersive angle, and we want to bring that to our coverage. And in Europe, they have a lot of spaces behind the goals, so you can have a big pole cam behind it. But in the UK, in stadiums like the old White Hart Lane and Chelsea and Liverpool, there just isn't the space, so it had to be a robotic system. And then with the tech area or the manager cameras, it's just such an emotional space, and it's kind of like the heart of kind of the team in some ways. And you see some really raw emotions. Even if it's a 0-0, you're going to get something really good out of it.
Yeah.
So we knew we could offer something above what was currently being provided with high frame rate and just really high-end, operation of that camera.
Fab. And how did you fit that into the regular workflow, these two?
So with Smart Grip, we had to really, I think, from the ground up, this has kind of never been done before, this kind of ambitious robotic goal camera, and it was going to, on air, enter the square of the net, which is only like 11 centimeters squared on air, and so you can't see it. You're operating it from a TV compound, so you've got no line of sight. So it's an incredible challenge technically, but also from a safety perspective as well, because you're not there. So we had to put in a lot of safety features for it to be able to retract quickly in the event of there being a collision and things like that. So, but going back to a question with workflow, we had to transport all the signals back, and I think one of the first games we done with Sky was a test, and I think it was at West Ham for a match versus Newcastle, and it all gone well. And I think near the end, there was a corner, and Jamie Noble came into the goal and grabbed the camera, and I think everyone in the thing was like, what's going on? Is this okay? Or are we going to be in trouble? But he's actually just grabbed the camera and let go, and it turned out it was brilliant. It was in all the melts and stuff like that. So, yeah.
Fun.
Yeah.
Can't plan for everything.
Bit scary, but yeah, it was fun.
Yeah. And then how's Smart Grip evolved since it was created? Because you're doing things with it, aren't you?
Yeah, so it's evolved a lot. So there's probably been 3 or 4 different iterations of it, and it largely goes with the camera technology. So originally there was kind of only one camera choice that we could use, which had a trigger mode, which is where a camera has 2 outputs. So there's a live output and a slow-mo output that EVS can kind of operate, and the person responsible for the EVS will trigger the camera and generate all the replays. Probably in about 2022, we started working with a different camera manufacturer that we could deliver a single output, which was, half in the number of resources for the broadcasters and for the facilities providers. So that was really key. And it also allowed us to create our camera operators that operate these Smart Grips, the ability to kind of create a hybrid role where they were the camera operator and the VD operator, which is quite strange, but we spent a lot of time before that monitoring what was happening with the slow-mo output. So we saw how the EVS operators were triggering our cameras, and we were able to emulate that quite quickly, really. We saw certain patterns, what were they doing, and we created that. And then with the manager cameras, it was largely taking that technology with the camera technology and putting that on our in-house smart head, which is our own robotic head. And then we kind of just put a B4 lens on it, and we knew that would be better than what was out there, and yeah, we put it out there.
Fab. And what would you say are the benefits for the production and viewers for these new cameras?
So with the manager cameras, you're getting kind of like for production, they're getting 2 isolated feeds that are constantly operated of each manager, and in any moment that there's any emotion or celebration or anger, the operators are triggering everything and sending it to EVS. So I think editorially, production can tell a story. If they're not happy with, if the manager's having, a lot of anger, or if a lot of, he's happy, they can, paint a certain picture. Because we send back probably a couple of 100 clips in a match with each manager. It's really a lot of stuff we turn around.
It is. It's tons.
It's crazy.
Now let's have a look at what else could be done with specialist cameras, going forwards. Paul, first of all, let's stay with you. What else, or where else, do you think you could put a specialist camera?
My original comment was going to be no comment and just walk off stage. But, I think, it's always looking for new immersive angles. And I think we're seeing a trend where we've done some stuff with BBC and Sky recently with an array of cameras around the goal. And there's certainly efficiencies with you kind of retain the same kind of crew levels on site, but they can actually operate more cameras and trigger more stuff. So I can't really go into too much more detail on certain stuff, but I think there's going to be a trend with arrays of cameras around goals in the next kind of season.
Yeah. What about Emil? What do you think?
I think there are great camera systems out there. There are great ideas out there. We just have to take a look at American sports to see what would be possible with mic'd up managers and cameras in locker rooms and so on. But in the end, I think it's first of all a question of access. When will we get that access? What kind of access do we get? And as we all know, in football, it's not so easy to get that access. So whatever will be next, it will take time, I guess. But in the end, I think it's also our responsibility as broadcaster to develop ideas, to push things forward, and to really to also present these ideas and convince the leagues and clubs and federations about that extra value, which they also benefit from in the end. Yeah.
Sure, yeah. I mean, you've done it with RefCam audio, so I think you can keep going. And as the broadcaster on stage here, what is stopping us, apart from people saying no? Do you have any examples of ideas that have fallen down, not because of the technology, but because of those rules and restrictions and permissions? So.
Yeah, it's always the same. It's just this restriction and the access that you might not get. But in the end, I think it's just a question of time. And as mentioned before, I think we can really convince the leagues and the clubs about these ideas, and then we will also get the access and can show these additional values.
Cool. Do you have any thoughts on that one, Paul?
Yeah, I agree. I think it's largely is time that you can introduce kind of like quite a new idea, and it can seem quite too challenging maybe at the same time. I remember, I think in 2019 we were very keen on producing cameras that went into the crowds, into the stands, and we managed to do certain stuff within certain competitions like the FA Cup, but it just wasn't possible in the league. And then I think we did FA Cup quarterfinals, semi-finals, the final, and it just wasn't possible doing in the league. And then later that summer you watch a World Cup and the cameras are in the crowd and you're thinking, just want to be doing that. But I think it takes time for, we understand that we're clearly violating some rules with going in stands with cameras in their faces, but it's kind of quite trendy now. We see that a lot of the cine-styles pointing in the crowds and things like that. So yeah, I'd like to think maybe it's had a little that.
Cool. And is there anything, staying with you first of all, Paul, do you think there's anything that can be done to make things easier when planning to implement specialist cameras? Have you got any advice for others looking to try something new and different, how to approach it?
Yeah, I guess it's not worth doing lots of development until you have taken that idea. Internally, you want to review it and make sure it's technically sound and reliable. But then once you've got something like that you think could be, anything new or unique, then it's definitely worth throwing out to a broadcaster, I think, because they're very supportive, and I think for us at ACS, we probably go more through the broadcaster than directly to the Premier League, but they already have those links and they're very supportive, and they know what can and can't be done. So it's been good for us. But yeah, I'd just suggest getting in touch with a broadcaster would be a good starting point.
Cool. And the broadcaster, last word for you.
I think in the end it's really important that we always focus on the viewers. So no matter what specialist cameras we're using, no matter how innovative we are, in the end it has to provide an extra value for the viewers, for the audience. Otherwise it makes no sense.
Mic drop. Thank you very much. Please give my guys here a round of applause. Stay there.